to the Businessmen and Women of Color podcast. I am your host, Ann Austin, and it is once again my pleasure to bring quality programs to all of you. I am excited, yes, you know it, again with another amazing professional and business sponsor who is on the podcast today. We're going to be interviewing her about her organization and what she does to help women across the country and beyond. And so I'm just really excited to have her in 2018, along with so many other people who have stepped up to the plate to join the movement and to support small businesses. So if you missed your opportunity to be on this podcast platform in 2018, make sure you check in at the call of speakers at the end of the year for the 2019 BMWOC. Just in case you did not know, the purpose of our podcast is to share information as well as encourage you, the working professional, to look at the different lines of work that's being presented here on the platform and understand the changes that's going on in the industry. And you never know, you might find out that there's new stuff happening out there that you may want to visit. So make sure that you check all the pages. Make sure you take time during the podcast season. You have 8 weeks to go in and listen to a podcast almost day and night, anytime, because we want you to understand their story, what they do, how they can help you, and what products and services that is out there that will help you either with your career or your business. So make sure you take advantage of this unique opportunity. Before we get started with our interview today, we would like to thank our corporate sponsors, which are Cat Sereno LLC, Cheryl Wood Empowers, Concern and Learning, Evangelism Radio, Genesis Preferred Solution, J Coach International, Nels Tax Help, My Financial Home, Power, STCI, and the Student Teacher, along with our other business sponsors and business affiliates and everybody who is supporting this event. So today, as promised, we have another amazing professional here. Her name is Gina Bell, and she is the CEO and founder of J Coach International, who is also our BMWOC corporate sponsor. She is a top business coach and life strategist, an international motivational speaker, entrepreneur, and co-founder of This Is Your Moment, Girlfriends, Women's Empowerment Retreats of Costa Rica. As a trained group facilitator, she specializes in creating transformational experiences for her clients. She has coached and developed high-performing teams, achieving record success and serving as a coach to professional associates for over 20 years. With 30 years experience advising and representing clients on diverse business and government contracting issues. And she also uses her visionary and strategy techniques to help people move beyond their circumstances and unlock their possibilities. So I want you to continue reading her bio so that you can understand more about Gina. And hey, Gina, are you there? Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Ann. I really appreciate it, and I am so excited to be here and to be able to talk to your audience. This is just an awesome opportunity for me, and I just want to thank you, and I am glad to be here and share whatever knowledge I have that will help to enlighten others.
Awesome. And thank you so much again for being a corporate sponsor to support the BMWC efforts. And I am really interested, and so is everybody. I got everybody excited now to know more about J Coach International. So before we do that, let's get to know you a little bit and find out more about where you're from, where'd you go to school, and did you want to go into this line of work that you're in right now? Talk to a little bit about who Gina is.
Okay, well, thank you. So I am a Southern girl. I hail from Texas. Grew up in Texas. Small town right outside of Dallas. I went to school at the University of Texas in Austin. After college, I had the opportunity just before I left college to actually visit the Washington, D.C. area. And I was so impressed with what I saw that I was determined that I was going to move to the Washington, D.C. area. So after graduation, I did that, and I've now been here ever since. So it's been over 30 years, and it has been absolutely marvelous. I actually studied accounting when I was in college. I got out. I decided I didn't want to go the public accounting route I wanted to go the internal audit route because I wanted to be able to make a difference in companies, but I wanted to be there to experience the actual transformation of that company in whatever way that I could help. So I wasn't your traditional minded accountant, but I knew that part of my joy came from problem solving. I fell into healthcare really by accident, and it was when I moved to DC. I started looking for a job because I did a real bold thing. I came up here without a job, and the job offers I had I didn't like. So I said, you know what, I'm going to try to do this on my own. I did. I started working within 30 days, and I stayed in healthcare for 30 years. And what
Oh,
I
wow.
found,
Okay.
what I found out that I really, really, really loved was that being an internal auditor allowed me to know the business. So I learned every aspect of the business from a healthcare perspective, and it was just remarkable. But I still approached healthcare from the business side. So I worked for one small HMO for about 3 years. I started their internal audit department and worked my way up. But then I got an offer. I passed my CPA exam, and I got an offer with a bigger company. And they said, you know, we want you. And I thought, okay, I was going to be able to travel. So it was a job traveling about 80 to 90%, which I loved. I got there. I thought I'd stay there maybe about 5 years. Well, I was there for 27, but
Oh,
it was
wow.
great.
So you just doing long strides. You get there for a little bit of time, and then you're just there like a long, long time. That's great.
It was, and my goal was really just 5 years because, to be honest with you, in college, I always wanted my own organization, and I wanted to have a accounting firm is what I thought, but I wanted to have a multifaceted organization that would bring in the skills and expertise of many of the people that I had gone to school with. Because at the University of Texas, just to give you an idea, 52,000 students, about 1,000 were African American. So I often walked in classes in which there was nobody in the room that looked like me.
Oh,
And while I was
wow.
still comfortable with that, what I
Mm.
realized is that I had to thrive no matter what environment I was going to be in. And I had always had friends and relationships that were multicultural. So it didn't bother me except for it was during the 80s, so it was still at a time at the University of Texas where there was still some racial divide. But I got through that, but I partnered with so many other of those African American students through the African American Minority Student Department that we began to build almost a community. So through that, we began to look at different partnerships and had these grand ideas that we would have this African American company that would thrive in business. Well, make a long story short, that didn't happen, but I had that dream. But once I got into corporate, something changed. And that is my dream was put on the back burner, and my dream at that point became being the best that I could be at that job, working on their dream. And I did that, and I worked, and I started out in the internal audit department. By the time I left, I was actually running the program that I had started in. So for the last 8 years, I was actually running a $29 billion program. It was a nationwide program with over 5 million members. I loved it, but something happened during that process. I began to think about healthcare not as a business, but it became about the people and the difference that I could make in their lives, because people don't come to you until they need you.
Right.
So in their weakest state or their most vulnerable state is when they need you. So my goal with the program that I was running was to make sure that we served those individuals in the time that they needed. So it switched for me. And as I began to really think about what I was doing, I realized that there was a calling for me to do more. I didn't know what it was, but I knew that there was a calling for me to do more.
Right.
And as it turned out, um, things changed, and I was then able to leave corporate, and I knew that I had to have my own business because I still wanted to make a difference in the lives of others without having to get that huge corporate veil. And so that's where I am now. But I had to go through a process of rediscovering
Yeah,
my own hopes
absolutely.
and dreams.
Right. And you said some really profound things that it was so much in your background in terms of how you transitioned from one to the other, going from accounting to healthcare, and then ended up learning the business, which prepared you for this launch, to have your own business. And what's really interesting that I want to say this part again, because a lot of times we don't realize this happened to us, is that the dreams that we normally will
Yes,
have literally gets switched up into the dream that makes the company what it is, because naturally when we work for an organization we want to align with the mission and the vision or the dream of that organization, and we give our all and
right.
we do that. But for some reason or another, that just kind of took hold with you, and you just kind of decided that I want to know this thing with healthcare and what I'm doing to help people, because this is how I can help people and change their lives. And you're like, okay, now, how can I do this as J Coach International? So now you're at
Cool.
the point that you've been there. So now you're ready to launch your business. You're ready to do stuff. And so once you were able to launch your own business, how was that experience for you? Just trying to make that particular transition.
Well, it's funny that you asked that. And how do you make that transition from under a corporate veil to your own veil? That's
Yeah.
a very, very, very different transition, and it can be overwhelming. Sometimes it can leave you feeling like you're doubting yourself. So even though I had 30 years of business experience, I had not had 30 years running my business. I was running their business. So there was a sense of security there. So what I had to learn was now how to take or transition the skills and expertise that I had developed over the years and now translate that into a business where I'm now running the whole thing and everything is on my shoulders to make it work. And so it was a difficult transition only because I had to really get over some of my own what I call mindset issues, and that was I was not new to business. What I was new at was running a business for Gina. That was what was different. But the same skills, the same expertise, the same strategies that I used there, I could use here. And what really propelled me where I am now with J Coach International, because J Coach International is now devoted to coaching women, because as a woman of color working in a male dominated place, what I soon learned through all of that, and while I had achieved so much, there was something that I still needed, and it was a sense of fulfillment. And I found that there are so many women today that are overachievers. They've achieved success in business. They've achieved success in their careers. They have multiple degrees. But what I've learned is that there's one thing that they haven't achieved for themselves, and that is this sense of being fulfilled. And one of the things that I learned through my own journey is that fulfillment is so great, it's so needed, because for you to really be all that you can be and be the person that God has destined you to be, you have to be able to express yourself and work in an environment where you can fully express yourself for who you are. And sometimes in corporate, and what happened to me, what I experienced is that many times I had to put me or parts of me on the back burner because it was dictated of how you would do things. And so often we get caught up thinking that I have to do it the way that they do it, that male, or the way society says it has to be done. So we end up holding back oftentimes of who we really are. And when we hold back, we create a sense of sadness, a sense of emptiness that sometimes does not get filled. And so what I now teach women and what my organization does is how they can get on a path of full abundance. And it's not about abundance in all the material things, because we've achieved that. We get that. But that doesn't bring us pure joy. It doesn't bring us fulfillment. It's only when we are truly living in the spirit of the talents and gifts that God has given us in the expression of who we are to be in that person, when we are letting our own light shine, that we can truly feel that sense of abundance. And whether it's in our health, our wealth, whether it's in our relationships, or whether it's in other parts. But I truly believe, and that's what my organization is dedicated to, I truly believe that as women, we can have it all. We can have our cake and eat it too, but we can only do that when we are living a life of overflow. And so that's what my organization is dedicated to, is to helping women experience life in the overflow so that they experience His full abundance in their life.
Yeah, I have heard so many different definitions on how women can feel empowered or to find their purpose. And what I liked about what you said was that we are holding ourselves back for any number of reasons because we're always waiting for something, and it's pretty much like I also said in my book, that we're waiting for permission to do something, either through friends, families, or just from yourself. And a lot of times we hold ourselves back because we don't feel that we have it in us to continue. And so that is very profound. And all the other points that you made were valid. I think a lot of times, as I get into talking with life coaches or motivational speakers, that we all sort of sing the same language. But for me, I still feel like there's this piece where we go get empowered, we go get pumped up, and then we go back to the norm. And so you as a professional, what can we do, or what can we be done or said, or what method you think will be helpful for women to feel that once they leave the workshop or once they are at home in their environment, to move forward with the feeling that they had when they left the workshop, or they have the how-tos and the tools? Because we talk about it a lot, but I still feel like that there is no like definitive how on what do you do once you leave the event and you have the tool.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm so glad that you asked this question, because I know, just like you said, and I've been there too, where you go to these conferences, you go and you're all excited and revved up, and then you get home because you're back in the midst of life and life situations. And it's like, oh, now that excitement is gone. Now what? Now I'm stuck. And so what I do is I help women get unstuck, because what I want you to know is that the reason that you're stuck is due to so many different factors. And what we do is we uncover what those factors are that have gotten you stuck. Many times being stuck is a pure reflection of the decisions that we've made that we have not really addressed, and the decisions that we haven't owned up to. And that's not to say that we've caused that situation that we're now in, but what's happened is that we've had a part in it in making a decision. And so with those decisions, it's now diverted us to a different path. And so what I want to do is to help women find that path and get on that right path and to stay there. And what I do is I equip women with tools that when they get home, that they're not feeling as though they're now on their own, but not only can they work with me in a coaching environment or in any of the products that I have, but I want them to always feel that they have tools that they can work with. One of the things that I do with my clients is I have them to go through what I call a circle of life. And that is how you create harmony in all parts of your life. So when you can look at all those 8 different parts of your life, whether it's your wealth, your health, your lifestyle, your money, your career, your employment, your family, and your relationships, you look at each part of that, and then you rate it. And then you figure out which ones really need your attention, because that's what's dragging you back. And so when you can understand what that pull is on the psychology that's causing you not to move forward, it begins to give you a sense of empowerment because now you can address it. So I'll share just a personal story with you. One of the things that was holding me back is I was in a very toxic relationship, and I could not see myself out of it. So for years, I tried to hide it, that, oh, my God, I don't want anybody to know. Here I am, this successful woman. I've achieved, blah, blah, blah. But my personal life is really in shambles because I'm in a relationship that is causing me to feel as though I was really dying on the inside. Because when we stop growing as individuals, it's like dying. And you think about a tree or you think about a plant. When that plant is no longer growing, it's dying on the vine. So think about that in yourself if you're not growing. And that's where I was. And I had to finally forgive myself for the decisions I had made. I had to also recognize that my happiness was not in the possessions that I was trying to hold on to. My happiness was far beyond that I had to be me and I had to do what God had destined me to be. And until I walked into the full glory of my purpose, I was always going to be stuck. So what I say to women, going back to your initial question, is getting back home, is understanding, number one, what your purpose is. When you are purpose-driven, that excitement stays there. And when you understand, secondly, what your limiting beliefs are, then you can counteract those limiting beliefs with those beliefs that create growth in your mind and in your. So I teach women those tools of meditation, of daily affirmation, of ways, real clear strategies. Like I just completed a women's retreat in Costa Rica. And one of the things that we did is I worked with the women who were there, and one in particular, she was ready but was afraid, not knowing what life would be for her afterwards. So what we did is we worked through what her fears were, what her concerns were. We came up with a whole strategy, a whole, what I call a life print on how you're going to counter this. So she left. Not only did she now have a better sense, she had a reason for her why. So she was running to that why because she knew that there was life far beyond where she was now that she could be happy with, that she could explore, that she could have new relationships in her life, that she could have time to do the things she loved. So she has a new strategy, and that's what I like to do, is to make sure people have a strategy of how they're going to conquer it and how they're
so
going
do
to
you
deal
offer
with those things.
Right,
Go
and I
ahead,
want
though.
to ask you there because all of that is really great stuff. Now, one of the other gaps that I do see sometimes is that we don't have a lot of follow up with folks
Mhm.
that we have in our events and things like that. And I think that's
Yes.
another critical area where either the person is not coming back for follow up or we're not able to follow up with the person. And I kind of want people to hear that because I want us to start looking at follow up as another integral part of, just strategizing because we can
Mhm.
strategize all day, but if we're not following up to see where we are and keeping those checklists in place, then
Mhm.
we are going to say, oh, I will do it tomorrow. Oh, I will do it next week. And then next, it becomes years and years and years, and then we never do it. And so I
Mhm.
think follow up is also a very important thing that needs to happen as well.
Right, exactly. And so one of the things that, as a matter of fact, I'm getting ready to launch a whole new project, and it's called Your Pathways to Abundance Project. And in that coaching project, what it's going to have are not only the tools that I just talked about, but it's also going to have just what you talked about, that accountability and that follow up through a membership organization where they will be able to join the membership, and in that membership there will be different items that will be provided to them as part of their membership. So there will be biweekly calls that will be made that they can join with other women who are part of the same circle who now can check in. They're going to have the group coaching on a regular basis through that membership club. They will also get access to the retreats that I do on a regular basis. There will be women within the organization they can then partner with, because my whole goal now is to bring women together to help each other. And I strongly believe that. And again, it really comes out of my own personal experience of what I know to be true. And that is when you're in corporate or you in these work environments, so often they have told us that there's not enough room for us. So whether you're a woman or whether you're a person of color, it's not enough room. Well, I want to debunk all of that. And because what happens is that we start holding each other back because we believe that to get through that eye of the needle, that only one of us can get through. Well, I
Right.
can tell you
Mhm.
that that's not true. It's just they've reserved it for
Mhm.
somebody else. But as small businesses, since your
Mhm.
community is small business owners, that's what I
Mhm.
want these small business owners to know is
Mhm.
that they have the opportunity to
Right.
build the kind of organizations that thrive and to help other people thrive. And you don't compare and you don't compete, you collaborate. But when women together start building, there's a journal that I bought just recently and I loved it. It says one woman can make a difference, but together we can rock the world. And that is what I truly believe, that when we as women come together and we start working together, we bring a whole different perspective of work, of businesses, because we have this ability to nurture and to give and give and give. We just have to remember to give to ourselves. But in these small
Exactly.
businesses, when we can grow them
Mhm.
and we can start collaborating and working together, the possibilities are just unlimited. So I'm
Right.
glad you talked about the follow up, because my membership organization or membership product will actually do that, and it
Mhm.
helps to keep them accountable. So if someone is falling short or feeling that they need that extra boost of motivation, they'll be able to get that right from the membership that they purchase. So I'm
Awesome.
excited about that. I'm getting ready to launch that within the next 30 days. So I am
Nice.
very
Nice.
excited about that. But that's going to create that follow up
Awesome.
opportunity for them.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Everything you said is just very, very inspiring. And so I want to turn the attention now. You have another organization, J Solutions Group, and
Yes,
J Kids Foundation, which is a nonprofit. So talk
yes.
to us a little bit about J Solutions Group first, and then go right into J Kids Foundation.
Okay. J Solutions Group is an organization that I've now started that deals with real estate investment. So I started in real estate investing as a way to build my own wealth. And as I got in it, what I've learned and what I really want to be able to do is to help improve the communities for which we live. So when I am rehabbing homes, my goal is to create homes that people are going to love, where their dreams are going to be realized. So it's more than just a rehab for the sake of selling for profit. It's really about the impact that it's going to have on that buyer, that end buyer. And then eventually to buy the type of properties that will help to restore neighborhoods and communities. So that's sort of a longer stretch goal for me in that organization. But I started it with the whole idea that it would, because most of the ones I've purchased so far are in the inner cities, but it's about how do I now help rebuild these communities and create jobs and opportunities for individuals right there in the communities. So that's what J Solutions Group is devoted to. And so I'm really looking forward to growing that aspect of the business. And then J Kids Foundation is really my heart, because I absolutely love children. I believe that children are, wow, I get emotional because as a mom, my daughter is the most important person to me. And when I think about other children and the issues that they're having to face today in schools and with bullying, their suicide rates are going up and so much. Their safety is at stake. What Jay's Kids is devoted to is to, number one, bring life skills training to children so that they can better deal with the issues that they're facing. Also, that it helps to improve graduation rates, and it helps these kids begin to thrive at an earlier age, that they realize what's possible for them. Because when you see all the negative images out there, my fear is that it's hurting the kids. And so you have so many now within certain age groups that feel this sense of despair. Things that you and I probably never felt, Anne, because when I was growing
No,
up,
we didn't have none of that stuff when we was
we didn't
growing up. We
look.
were outside
My
playing
big,
games, not even
yeah,
thinking about
not
anything.
even thinking about it. My biggest worry was which doll I was going to play with.
That's right.
I was playing house and school and all this kind of stuff, and kickball and all of.
Right.
So I'm gonna, date myself a little bit, but yes, we played tetherball and kickball. But the kids
Basketball,
today,
dodgeball.
you, yes, dodgeball,
That's
and
right.
they don't get that anymore, and
No.
so it concerns me. So I started the foundation for
Hmm.
that very purpose, to be able to go into schools and to bring these life skills. When I got mad at someone back then, it was like, okay, so what? I'm not going to play with you today. But tomorrow we play. But today it goes so much more serious. And with all of the bullying and the cyberbullying and all that, I just think it's more difficult for our kids. And
Oh yeah,
so I want
absolutely.
J Coach,
Hmm.
I'm sorry, J Kids Foundation to
Hmm.
actually improve that and to show kids that they do matter and that their life is full of possibilities, and their health. So coming from the health industry, I also understand that the person that you deliver to your decade in your 40s and 50s is based on what you did as a child and through your teenage years. And because that's when the onset of so many diseases start occurring, right at 40. Your eyes start to go, all things, 50, 60, but you can't reverse it then. But if you have those healthy behaviors early, I believe you got
Hmm.
to start earlier. So
Right.
anyway, so that's the purpose of J Kids.
Okay. Well, first of all, I appreciate that you are taking it to the next level because not only are you doing this for women, but you're also going into the families now with J Kids Foundation and then helping us understand wealth by, helping people buy properties or to buy a house if they need to and they can't do it in a conventional way. Just giving people additional platforms to level up. That's what I
Mm,
love. And I'm hoping that everybody hears this and just lets you know that you can pretty much go out there and with your mind and your determination, and as you said earlier in your conversation, just tying in the mind, the body, and the spirit to just go out there and do what you love and also lift people up in the process. I just love everything that you're doing so far. Um, I don't know. I just love everything that you're doing so far,
oh,
and I
thank you
want you
so
to
much.
continue doing it. I don't know if you have the time to do all this stuff, but obviously you're making it happen, and just really, really want people to see and hear and understand that going in to really teach people what you know is the key. It's the key to learning something new. It's the key to our future, our kids growing up and learning more about technology. It is the key to us
Hmm.
as a human race to keep going
Absolutely.
and evolutions go by and we just keep
Mm.
learning from people in the past. And that's why I love this podcast because I can't tell you how much stuff I have learned over the last 3 years. It is unbelievable. But I will say that because of that, I am a much better business person. I am a much better person with my kids. I'm a much better person with empowering women and going to the schools and empowering them because of all the knowledge that people like yourself and others who have poured into me. So just having that, just knowing that really I'm armed with
Hmm.
so much information that I can just pull something out of a hat in any second and say, I got something for this, I got something for that. And I love that. I'm telling you, I
Absolutely.
do. I do. So okay, so you have really given a great deal of information. So the last question I want to ask you before you give your contact information is that do you or are you in any kind of current workshops or activities and things that you're going to be doing in the summer months after this podcast airs so that people can come out and get all of this wonderful information just like I did today?
Oh, thank you so much. And I just want to let me just first commend you on what you're doing. And I really believe in your mission and what you're doing to highlight other businesses, small businesses for people of color, because I do believe that it's so, so, so important that our businesses thrive and that we support each other. And I have a global organization, a global reach. I help all women. It doesn't matter because I believe that all women deserve to live in their full abundance. So globally, I'll be speaking in South Africa actually in September. I have my women's retreat in Costa Rica that's coming up in August. And then I have a series of workshops that I'll be having stateside where I am launching my Pathways to Abundance project. And those workshops are geared toward, again, educating women about the possibilities in their lives when they walk in their own path. It's not a path designed by anybody else, it's their path that is a full expression of who they're intended to be by God, their creator, because I live by faith, I'm guided by faith, and my whole mission is to help others achieve what I achieved by learning from my own mistakes, by learning because I haven't always been here. My life is is full of ups and downs, it's full of trials and tribulations, but it's full with triumphs. It's full with overcoming. It's full with the grace that God has put over my life, and He's given me this calling to shine so that others can find their own way to sparkle. So if there's anything that I can say or do to help others, I'm willing to do that. But I believe that for women, that so often we can get displaced because we're not operating in our full grace. And when we do that, we have this sense of unfulfillment. And my goal is to teach women how to live a fulfilled life, how to have that business and to thrive and to have that success in business, but also to have that success in achieving that fulfillment. So my workshops coming up later on over the summer and through the fall are all focused on that. And people will be able, I'll give you a number in just a minute, in which they could text in and get on the mailing list and get free gifts, because I want people to know that being stuck is not an option, but it can be an unconscious choice. Because when we're stuck in those situations of life, it causes us either not to make the decisions that we need to make, or causes us to make decisions that keep us where we are. So it's about pushing outside your comfort zone. So I'm here today, and I'm here in the businesses that I am, but it required me to step way outside of my comfort zone. And it was when I did that that I realized that there was so much more for me. So every step you take outside of that comfort zone, it gets a little easier in recreating that new zone. And when that one gets a little comfortable, too comfortable, it's time to stretch it again.
That's
And
right.
that's
You got to
exactly
stay
what I
uncomfortable. You got to stay uncomfortable to keep on your toes. That is definitely,
do.
definitely for sure. And so go ahead and quickly give people your contact information, and everything that Gina is going to give us today will be on her website or on
Okay,
this page
wonderful.
too.
So I have a phone number that people can just text into, and when they text into the phone number, they then can not only get my free gift, but they can sign up for my newsletter, and they can get alerts on all of my events. So the number is 415-417-0817. Let me repeat that. It's area code 415-417-0817. And all they have to do is simply text the word success and include their first name, their last name, and their email address. And they will then get access to my free gift. And in that free gift, they will get my 6 strategies on how to get unstuck. And then they will get future alerts on every event that I'm having, because I would really want them to connect with me and to connect with one of my events. And there's so many ways, whether there's a retreat, whether it's a workshop, whether it's one of my speaking engagements or my live events. I would love for them to connect with me. And if they're interested in collaborating in business, I'm open to that as well. So, because I do help women, individuals, not only in, and I think that's what's unique about what I do, or that's what is unique about what I do, is not only am I helping you in your business to grow your business, but I'm helping you in your life, so that the two go together. Because when there's a deficit in one, it's going to create a deficit in the other. So you have to keep them jointly. So that's what I do, is I address both.
All right. So give them your website.
So my website is www.jcoachinternational.
And are you on Twitter, Facebook, all the other social
I
media
sure am.
channels?
They can reach me on Twitter as well as on Facebook and on Instagram. And it's Gina L. Bell.
All right, y'all. So you are super empowered today listening to Gina Bell here from J Coach International, and also our BMWOC corporate sponsor. She has given you every opportunity and all the information you can ever need to contact her to attend one of her events, maybe go overseas and see her speak, or maybe have her come to your place and collaborate with you on how you can empower women and kids and families. So, definitely take a look down at the bottom of this speaker page right here and click on her information and sign up. Do her text message so that you can be alerted to all the different opportunities that she has presented here in this podcast interview. So, Gina, thank you so much again for this interview. I am definitely more poured in than I could ever be poured in, and I am definitely going to be taking you up on some of that myself.
Oh,
I
well,
mean,
thank you.
the opportunity is there, so there's no reason. So, I'm going to be one of those folks. So, I want people to really see the value in what you are presenting. And I want to thank you once again for joining the movement to support small businesses and authors by being a BMWC corporate sponsor.
Oh, well, thank you, Anne. I really appreciate it. And I think you're doing just a super marvelous job. And I support you all the way.